You're seeing this okay. My phone says I've got 5G signal and hopefully it's all catching up. Do let me know in the comments if you can't see me, or if you can see me even, say hello. I've got my iPad here so that I can keep a handle on the chat. So it'd be great to, interact with you today. Today is the 100th episode of my weekly updates. I never even imagined that I would get this far, to be quite honest. It's been a roller coaster ride, and I'm going to be talking more about why I started this, where I am on my journey, whole host of things in this live stream. So yeah, looking forward to chatting to you today. I want to talk about my background and where I am today. I am in Glasgow. I'm standing by the River Clyde, which is the 8th longest river, I believe, in the UK, and I think it's the 2nd or 3rd longest in Scotland. There's a lot of construction happening. I wasn't prepared for all of this construction happening, so apologies in advance for the background noise, and there's lots of seagulls. The Clyde is actually quite low right now. The tide is out at the moment, so yeah, it's sitting quite low, and we have had a couple of dry days here in Scotland at the moment, so I imagine that the river is actually lower than normal. Now, in the background, we've got the Squinty Bridge, which is what it's called locally. That's also called the Clyde Arc officially, but the locals call it the Squinty Bridge because it kind of goes across the river at an angle. In the background, let me try and point this out. So you can just see this long kind of tower. That is the Glasgow Science Centre Tower. It's the tallest freestanding building in Scotland. It has an observation point at the top of it, and you can get good views apparently, but it's had lots of issues since it's opened, and if there's high winds it can't open because it sways in the wind, which is quite interesting. So I've never been up it, but I definitely do want to get up it. Over here is the Finnieston crane, which is actually quite famous for what Glasgow is famous for, to be honest. It was used for building ships. Glasgow is famous for building ships, and in days gone past the Clyde would have been full of shipbuilding yards. That's one of the cranes that they use, and I believe it's one of only 11 left in the world completely, so great thing to see. They usually do, lots of charities actually do lots of bungee jumps and zip climb, you can zip across the Clyde from it and stuff like that. So fantastic opportunities to do that as well. Just nestled in behind the Finnieston crane, you can see this kind of armadillo building. It is actually called the Armadillo. It's one of the buildings that we use for concerts. Nestled in beside that is also, the SECC, and another building that we use, I believe it's called Scottish Power. I think Scottish Power now sponsored it, so it's now got a weird name relating to them sponsoring it. But that's where all of our concerts are. You'll find all the famous people coming to do concerts. I've seen Lulu and Pink, good few number of artists here in Scotland. So that's, if you ever come to a concert in Glasgow, chances are you're going way up, up there beside the SECC and the Armadillo as well. So yeah, that's just some of the kind of points that you can see in the background. Now on to the news. So we generally use these updates for news, so let's get talking about the news. Microsoft have actually updated all of their emojis in Microsoft. So when you look at the platform, you'll get all these different emojis, and they've updated them. And one of the things that they actually updated was the paperclip emoji, and it now looks like Clippy. So Clippy was that lovely little assistant that we all loved to hate back in the day, and now the emoji apparently is going to look like Clippy. So I'm not sure if the update's getting pushed out today. I know they announced it yesterday that all the emojis within Windows got updated. So I'm not sure if it just comes down automatically or if it's going to come down over the next few days. But yeah. That's something cool. It's nice to see Clippy coming back. I don't know if we'll ever bring back him as an assistant, but we can live in hope and keep campaigning for that to happen. Also in the news this week, we've had Microsoft Inspire, which is the partner conference that Microsoft run, where they invite partners to kind of talk about the solutions and how they can use it to grow their business. And one of the big announcements there was Windows 365, which I'm going to read off the notes because I'm not entirely sure about what all this is. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. They're actually drilling what looks like kind of pilings into the ground for a new building. Anyway, Windows 365 is built on Azure Virtual Desktop, and it's a SaaS solution. So you don't have to have any VDI experience. You don't have to know how to deploy a virtual desktop environment at all. You don't even really know how to manage that environment. but it will give you the flexibility of having those kind of virtual environments that you need for what we see nowadays. You know, people are wanting to work remotely, they maybe want to work from home, you want to control that environment as well. It looks like Windows 365 is going to be something that can help you there. Now, this might be an oversimplification of why you would choose Windows 365 versus Azure Virtual Desktop, but for me, Azure Virtual Desktop will give you that flexibility if you want to control, if you want to maintain that, if you want that flexibility of what your environment does and you have the skill set to actually use that, then it's great from that point of view. So that would be where you would pick Azure Virtual Desktop for me. Windows 365 is for simplicity, I think, and I think it'll be for those small to medium businesses that maybe don't have in-house IT, or they have a small IT budget and potentially want to leverage that. They have enough skill set within the Microsoft 365 platform and they can use that there. So really interesting to see what that brings and how all of that works, to be honest. Hello to Dilemma, thank you for popping in. I hope I pronounced your name right there. Also in the news, something that has happened in terms of PowerShell. There's actually been a vulnerability announced in some of the PowerShell versions, so please do look at updating your versions. So I think the versions that they're saying to update is 7.0 to 7.0.6. And if you're on 7.1, make sure you're on 7.1.3 to avoid that vulnerability happening. So yeah, make sure you're checking your PowerShell. I actually did this yesterday and used Winget or the Windows Package Manager to make sure that I had the right version installed, and I did. So yeah, make sure if you're running Windows 7.0 that you're on 7.0.6, and if you're on 7.1, make sure you actually have 7.1.3 to avoid that issue and that vulnerability that we have there. We also in preview saw the Azure Bastion standard SKU be launched. So this is the public preview of this SKU, which now gives you premium features to help you manage remote connectivity at larger scales. So there's the basic SKU, which gives you basic functionality, and this new standard SKU will give you more flexibility on your Bastion setup. So definitely check that out. Definitely make sure you understand where that is. If Bastion is something that you're using, check and see if the standard SKU can actually help enhance what you've got in the moment, and you know, looking to do more with that. So that's in public preview, but I think it's more than capable of being running within a production environment, looking at what it does, and Bastion has been out for quite a while as well, so another thing to check out for sure. So the other announcement I picked up on from Microsoft Inspire was the Azure Stack HCI now actually supports this cool function that you get usually in Hyper-V, which is actually automatic virtual machine activation, or AVMA is the acronym that we're using for that one. And what that feature is usually within the Hyper-V environment, you can put your key into your host, so your Hyper-V host, and then all of the virtual machines that you build on top of that Hyper-V host get automatically activated. They inherit that key that you've input into the host, so that you don't have to manually manage all of your virtual machines' keys and make sure that they're activated. They will inherit that key and then they will activate themselves. So that management is away from you. You don't have to worry about that. That feature has now been launched into Azure Stack HCI. You do have to have, I believe, the June 2021 update involved in order to have this feature applied to your Azure Stack clusters, but you can then do that. You can either push the key out through PowerShell, so I think it's that familiar command, the slmgr.vbs, I believe it is, if my memory serves me right, command, or you can actually use Windows Admin Center. So if you're using Windows Admin Center to manage your Azure Stack HCI clusters, then you can use Windows Admin Center to actually push out that key and have that feature. So that automatic virtual machine activation feature enabled on Azure Stack HCI as well. So pretty cool stuff happening there as well. So yeah, I think that's all the news that I wanted to cover off. As I said at the top of this show, this is show number 100 for me. I never imagined that I would get to show number 100, to be honest. I started doing this way back nearly 2 years ago to get more familiar with how to do this, how to use videos, to get more familiar with speaking to the camera. I think if you go back and look at my very first video, I was looking way off here, not focusing, not looking at the camera. It's very off-putting, I think, for me, even when I just watch it back. I think I've got very much better at speaking to the camera and focusing on the lens, focusing on trying to connect with the audience. And that was one of the things that I wanted to learn when I started this kind of YouTube channel and trying to do this weekly video. I never imagined that I'd be here 100 episodes later and nearly 2 years later still doing this and receiving the amazing support that I get from all of you, everybody that tunes into these updates, everybody that shares them, everybody that likes them, everybody that comments. I really do appreciate all of that. I do genuinely appreciate all of that. I know some people think that I do this just for my job and it's purely something that I get paid for, but interacting with the community has been something that I've done for quite a while now. I did it before I was a cloud advocate at Microsoft, and I will continue to do it even if I no longer am a cloud advocate at Microsoft. Being involved in the community has helped me grow my career massively. I have met so many wonderful people who are there to help me, support me, encourage me, and vice versa. You know, I started the Glasgow user group as well for the exact same reason, because I wanted to invest in this community and I wanted to get back from it. As I say, it's grown my career massively being involved in the community, and although I have pulled away from it a little bit this year personally, that's just because of the current situation. The pandemic has just made everything a bit, I don't want to say burnout, but you know, repetitive. So I am involved in this community. I love it. I love the fact that I have this YouTube channel where I can voice my opinions, I can interact with you all, and I can do these weird, wonderful weekly updates. I do wish that I'd had the chance over the last 2 years to be able to show you behind the scenes of the events and the places that I had planned to go to, behind the scenes of Microsoft Ignite and Build and all the wonderful conferences that I had lined up. But unfortunately, obviously the pandemic has put paid to that. We'll see if the future comes and we'll be able to do these a bit more interactively, a bit more live, a bit more from different places if we get to travel again. I was looking at all the wonderful locations in Glasgow that I could have spoke at today, and I could have set my camera up and my tripod up and talk to you today. There's some fantastic locations in Scotland, in Glasgow alone. I would love to show you. It's just whether I can because of pandemic and case numbers and stuff in Scotland. So maybe once I get my second Jag, I'll be much more happy to travel and do some more. So if you like doing these live updates and seeing a bit of Scotland, please do let me know, because I want this YouTube channel and want these videos to be A, useful from keeping you up to date with the news, and B, also helping you maybe see a bit of Scotland while we can't travel, because I can travel inside Scotland at the moment. So yeah, it'd be lovely to hear from you, hear your thoughts, hear your feedback on that. I really do appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that has tuned in again to this video, to all of my videos. Please do continue to tune in. I really do appreciate it. It helps me keep motivated, definitely, especially in these times where we can't be face to face. But yeah, thank you so much everybody, and don't forget to hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button, and I hope to catch you in my next video as well. So stay tuned everybody, and I'll see you in my next video.